Okay, so fair warning ahead of this video, this is my spoiler video for Wonder Woman. If you haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, go and watch it. For those that have seen it but don't want to talk about spoilers, there's a spoiler-free video that I have done, go and look that up. This one, we're gonna get into spoiler territory. So if you've seen it, great, let's get into it. So as I said in my spoiler-free video, I think there are a couple of reasons why they changed the origins ever so slightly for Wonder Woman from World War II to World War I in this film. And I went over a couple of those reasons in my spoiler-free video, but one that I did want to tread on that was getting into spoiler territory is the fact that Ares, the god of war, is involved in the war. And throughout the film, Diana is of the belief that it is her duty to go and kill Ares and stop the war. So if Ares is dead, then he is not corrupting mankind and the war will be over. And I believe that they changed the setting from World War II ever so slightly because I think that having the notion that the Nazis were being mind-controlled by a god of war wouldn't really sit that well. So it kind of makes sense that they can change the setting of it ever so slightly, still keep it as a war film, but not imply that the Nazis were all being mind-controlled. But it does set up that dialogue for after the point where Diana kills the leader of this German sect, who everyone you're meant to believe is Ares for a while. Like, this guy could be Ares because he's breaking off these pills and sniffing them and becoming roid rage, so maybe this guy is Ares, maybe there's something to it. And all the while, Stephen Trevor's going, I'm not sure this Ares guy really exists. I think you might be chasing something that isn't really real here. And so she kills this guy, who is also William Stryker from X-Men Origins Wolverine. People are still going off to war and they're still fighting, and she's like, why are they fighting? They should be free now. There's no corruption now. And Stephen Trevor kind of gives a great bit of dialogue over saying, you know, maybe it's not about who they're following. Maybe it's just because sometimes we're shitty people. And sometimes shitty people do shitty things. And war is kind of a shitty thing. And I like that that point is something that sets up the delivery of that line to really hit home. To really have some resonance with her as a character. Of course, then it does turn out that Ares does exist. He's David Thewlis throughout the whole thing, which I actually found was quite clever, because it's not like he's really a villain that's at the forefront of the piece. And he's the kind of villain that, in a way, is the worst kind of villain, because he's not actively doing anything evil. He's just kind of manipulating people behind the scenes. He's the god of war that whispers into people's ears to do things that would lead to war. So for the purposes of the film, that kind of works really well, because you think the villain is going to be one person, it ends up being someone entirely different, and I liked that turnaround at the end of the film. And to add to the resonance of this dialogue, Stephen Trevor at the end of the film does sacrifice himself and blows up a plane full of horrible gas that would kill thousands of people. And Diana sees this, and it kind of hits home to her in that moment that, yeah, war is a terrible thing, but the good people do really good things, and that's the thing to focus on. And after that point, yeah, there's a really big fight scene, and the fight scene is great, the effects in it are really good, it's really entertaining, but it does kind of end and become a little bit too easy at the end, almost, I feel. But in a way, it does kind of explain, to an extent, why Gal Gadot got cast as Wonder Woman, because everyone was saying, oh, she doesn't really look Amazonian, she doesn't really look big and muscly and like a warrior, and actually that's because she isn't necessarily entirely Amazon. It does turn out to the end of the film that she is actually of descendants from Zeus. So everything that she was being told on Themyscira, that she was moulded out of clay and Zeus gave her life, That's actually true. And all the way through, you're thinking, oh, she's got to keep hold of that sword because that's going to be important at the end. There's going to be a big climax where the sword has to get used, and actually, no it doesn't. And she is the god killer all along. The reason that Themyscira was hidden and the reason that she was created and held onto for so long was because it was her destiny all along to be the god killer. It's not necessarily that this is an origin story, it's a discovery story. It's about her becoming who she was always meant to be anyway. Ultimately, I feel that Wonder Woman is the step in the right direction that DC Extended Universe films really needed. The fact that Patty Jenkins did such a good job with directing Wonder Woman. No, it's not all about women being great and men being evil. It's about the fact of people coming together in times of war and following a figure that is heroic. This is a really great set piece. They've done some great art direction and fight choreography and dialogue throughout the film. It did have some weird pacing issues at the start, so when she's leaving Themyscira, coming to England, it kind of slows down a bit while they're trying to get like a gang together and go on this mission. But it does pick up towards the end, and when it does, you really feel what the film is about. So Wonder Woman, let's talk nerdy in the comments below. What were the best bits for you? What were the best spoiler bits for you? How do you think Wonder Woman is going to affect the future of the DC films? All comments are welcome in the comments section below. You can see some past videos, including my spoiler-free review, right here. If you want to subscribe and see more, you can hit subscribe just up here. And as always, until that point, I will see you next time.